people of the village are animists. Animism is the belief in the spirit world. The spiritual world dictates what happens in the physical world. If a person got sick, a shaman would perform a ritual. A shaman is a person who can communicate with the spirits of the ancestors. People could request the shaman to look at a person's spiritual life and journey to determine why horrible events happen, or ask spirits to bless a person or their household. Kai was a well-known, respected, and highly requested shaman in a small village in the countryside of northern Thailand. People perceived him as gifted. Kai was the one villagers called whenever someone needed a spiritual blessing or guidance. His gentle and kind demeanor made him easy to be around. He had an approachable presence. News spread around the village. The villagers gossiped about a family with a sick son in another town 20 miles away. The son was always tired and would sleep all day. Strangely, he would come out only at night. The past 3 nights, the parents of the son witnessed him leaving their house in the middle of the night and walking down the road and into the woods. As he walked away, the son held his hand like someone was dragging him. The son's parents were so frightened they refused to go after him, but the son would always be asleep in his bed the following day. One night, Kai had a dream. He was walking down a narrow dirt path. No one was in sight. Some rustling in the tall grass surrounded the path he was walking on. He stopped and stared at it. Then, the rustling tall grass moved closer and closer toward him. In a panic, Kai ran. The tall, rustling grass chased him as he ran. He ran faster and ran straight into the woods. The woods became dark. The rustling stopped pursuing him. Kai appeared lost. He decided to walk straight to see where it would lead him. He could hear leaves rustling and noises from wild monkeys and crickets. Kai walked for what it would feel like hours. He grew tired and restless. To his surprise, he smelled firewood burning and then fire. Kai decided to walk toward it. It was outside a hidden cave. Inside the cave was a young man dressed in all black and red cloth around his waist. It was a typical outfit the men from the village would wear. Kai stopped and stared at him. The young man turns around slowly, holds his hand out, and mouths, "Help." Kai woke up in a sweat. What a strange dream. Why would I dream of something like this? Kai thought to himself. The next day, 2 unknown men visited the village. One was older, around the 40s, and the other was younger, around the late 20s. They went from house to house, asking for a shaman named Kai. One villager pointed them in the direction of Kai's house. As they approached Kai's house, Kai sat outside, sharpening his knife on a rock. Kai looked up at the 2 men and greeted them. "Hello. Who is it that you're looking for?" "We came from the village on the other side of those mountains and are looking for the shaman named Kai." "Is that you?" the older man asked. "Yes, I'm Kai. Come sit." Kai enters his house and grabs 2 chairs for the men to sit on. Then Kai yells for his wife. "Wife, bring water for 2 of our guests. They've come a long way and must be thirsty." A few minutes later, Kai's wife walks out holding 2 cups of water. "Hello, welcome," she says to the men as she hands them the cups of water. "Hello," the men replied. Kai's wife walks back inside the house to prepare dinner. "What brings you to our village?" Kai asked the men. "We came here to request that you come with us to our village to perform a ritual on our uncle's son. We heard you are the best, so we came here to find you," the older man told Kai. "Oh, that's the only reason? That should be no problem. Spend the day here and sleep here for the night. We will leave for your village early in the morning," Kai told the men. Both men agreed. Early the following day, as the rooster crowed at sunrise, the 3 men packed their belongings and headed out the door. Kai's wife stopped him. She handed Kai food she had packed, rice for the journey, and a boiled chicken. She individually wrapped the food in banana leaves. Kai and the men then started their journey. As afternoon approached, the men stopped to rest at a wide, open area on the dirt path. Kai walked toward a banana tree near the dirt road they were walking on and pulled off 3 leaves to use as plates for the food. He took out the food that his wife had packed for them. Kai unwrapped the rice, and divided it among the men. Then he unwrapped the chicken and broke off the thighs and drumsticks to give to the men. Kai took a piece of the breast and rice to make a food offering to his spirit ancestors to guide their journey. Kai folded his hands, one on top of the other. "Oh, grandparents, we are on a journey to the village over the mountains. Please watch over us as we journey, and here are some food offerings for you." Kai prayed, out loud. Then he tossed their portion of food as if he were giving it to them. The men continued with their journey after finishing their meal. They walked through field plains, the woods, and the mountains. The sun was setting as they approached the village. As soon as the town appeared from a distance, Kai began to feel ill. He couldn't stop thinking about his dream. The picture of the young man standing in the woods would not stop appearing in his head. He kept seeing the young man calling for help. "Kai, we are almost to the town," the younger man said, startling Kai. "Oh, okay," Kai replied. "You will need to sleep over at my house tonight. Tomorrow morning we will go to my uncle's house," the older man told Kai. "Sounds like a plan," Kai said. The village was similar to Kai's village. It was thatched houses with livestock. You could hear chickens and stray dogs barking. There was smoke steaming out of every home. It was a cold evening. Families were trying to stay warm. They walked to the older man's house. He opened the door, and inside were his wife and 2 kids. They were sitting by the fire, keeping warm. There was no fireplace. The fire was burning on a pile of wood placed on the ground. "Husband, you're back home," his wife said. "Yes, I'm back. We brought the shaman, Kai, too. He will be staying here for tonight," the man told his wife as the men entered the house. "That will be fine. Sit by the fire. I will prepare dinner," the wife said as she stood up from her small wooden stool chair. As they eat dinner, the older man tells Kai, "I'm sorry I didn't mention this before you came. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to say no and not come with us to help my uncle. No need to worry. I would have come help regardless." Kai reassured him. "Great. We asked all the shamans in our village, but no one could help. Then, we heard about you from someone visiting our village. You were the best shaman in your village. You were able to help the sick. So we took a long journey to come to see you. You see, my uncle's son has been sick. He doesn't come out during the day and sleepwalks at night. My uncle and aunt don't know what to do. They've tried everything they could," the older man tells Kai. "No need to worry. I am here now and will do my best to help your uncle's son," says Kai. The men finished their meal and went to bed. Kai slept on the dirt ground on a bamboo-patterned mat. He used a folded blanket as a pillow and a thin blanket to cover him. That night, Kai had another dream. He kept hearing the sound of a gong. He was being chased again in the same field with tall grass. He couldn't see nor know who or what was chasing him. As it got closer to him, it was as if Kai was running in slow motion. He started breathing heavily. His feet would not run. An arm grabs his shoulder and Kai yells out a scream. Dawn was breaking. The older man tried to wake Kai up. "Oh, sorry. Did you have a nightmare? Did I spook you?" No, I'm fine," Kai said as he slowly rose. That afternoon, Kai and the 2 men walked down a few houses to the uncle's house. They knocked on the door. "Hi, sons, you're here. Come in," the uncle said after opening the door. "Yes, and we brought the shaman, Kai," the older man said. Good, come in. My son is sleeping inside," the uncle replied as he welcomed the men into his house. The house was dark, and light peeped through the straw walls. At the back of the corner of the house was a wood and bamboo bed. Laying down was the young man. Kai approached him and asked himself, "This young man looks so familiar. Where have I seen him from?" Kai gets closer to the young man and says, "Son, wake up." The young man wakes up and stares at Kai. Kai freaks out. The young man was the man he dreamed about. Kai takes a step back. The young man sits up. "Are you okay, uncle?" the young man asks Kai. "I'm fine. You look familiar to me," Kai said. "Let's get started." The two men brought in a wooden bench needed for the ritual. Kai dressed in his ritual attire. It was all black and wore a black face covering. To perform the ritual, Kai held a large ring with symbols. Kai would jump and shake it while reciting a mantra. During this ritual, the older man stands behind Kai. He placed his hands under Kai's arms to steady and catch Kai if he fell. The young man's duty was to hit the gong every other second. After the ritual, Kai informs the young man's parents that his spirit is trapped in another world. He retrieved that spirit and called it back to the young man's body. He should recover in a few days. Kai also advised them to keep an eye on him and to keep him from leaving the house for 7 days. Every night, for those 7 days, the parents had to tie the young man up to his bed so he wouldn't sleepwalk and go outside. If they follow this, he will get better. If not, the son will get sicker and sicker because his spirit will remain lost. Kai returned home a few days after helping the young man. He was not feeling himself and kept hearing laughter that sounded like a woman in his head when no one was around. When Kai walked around the village, he saw a woman with long black hair walking and smiling at him from the corner of his eyes. And when he would rub his eyes, she would be gone. Kai slowly became tired throughout the day. He couldn't figure out why. He was starting to eat less and reducing opportunities to help those in his village. News and gossip about what was happening began to spread in their small town, and they became curious. After he visited the other village on the other side of the mountains, he hasn't been the same, people would say. Some thought that the villagers on the other side of the mountain were envious of him because he was a respected and good shaman. Someone cursed him. One night, Kai's wife was up with her children because they couldn't sleep. They sat around the fire trying to stay warm when they noticed Kai getting up from bed and walking toward the door like a zombie. "Husband, what are you doing up? You're not feeling well," Kai's wife asked him. Kai ignored what she asked and continued walking towards the door. "Husband, it's so dark out. Where are you going?" Kai's wife asked. Kai opened the door, turned his head toward his family, gave them all a smile, reached his hand out, and walked into the dead of night. Kai's wife walked towards the door to see what her husband was doing. She could see him walking down the dirt path with one hand in the air as if he were holding someone's hand.